This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, let's call the January 7th, 2021 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting to order. This is Bill O'Brien, 9th District Chairman and, 9th District Councilman and Chairman of this committee. Happy New Year, everybody, if I haven't said it yet. Sean, I haven't seen you since last year either.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Do we have someone to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thanks, Rick.
Second.
Second by Paul.
Yep.
All in favor? Any discussion?
Aye.
Thanks.
Aye.
Passes unanimously, Aileen. So I guess we'll hope Chad shows up. In the meantime, we'll jump ahead to Amy.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi, Amy.
Good.
So quick, I'll just give you what's happening in rec. Right now, we are currently waiting for the state of Connecticut to release the guidelines for indoor sports. The last thing they had said was everything was postponed through January 19th. We were able to do some. Waiting. What's that?
We're all waiting, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So what I've been able to do right now is small groups of 4 kids in the gym. And I have Strtford High and Bunnell girls and boys basketball teams coming in 4 kids at a time for an hour, once or twice a week. Just getting some workouts in, drills and skills. They're working with Frank Langston. So that's been going pretty well, and hopefully, you know, they'll be able to go back and play basketball, and we won't need to do that anymore. But if not, we'll continue it if we can. We still were able to do the younger kids, like drills and skills, which we just finished up right before Christmas. We had a lot of people drop out kind of as the numbers in town got higher, but we were able to run the program. We had probably 6 to 7 kids in each group. Not a lot, obviously, but at least, you know, able to do something. We are currently doing a virtual theater program, which just started, which is really great. A kid who graduated Strtford High last year, who was a theater major in college, called us with an idea to do some workshops online and to actually do a whole play online with the high school kids. So that just started this week. We have about 25 kids in the younger group, like I believe it's 4th grade through 8th grade. And then the high school kids, there's about 15 kids who are participating in this online play. And that's going to be on Facebook Live in mid-February. So if we are allowed to proceed with indoor sports, I'm working with Sterling House to do basketball program at Birdseye. So Sterling House would use the gym and run a boys program, and I would run a girls program. Similar to kind of what's happening now, we would do like groups of 10 to 15 kids, drills and skills for like a half hour, and then a scrimmage for a half hour. That's if the state of Connecticut allows us to do that. If not, we might just have to do basic drills and skills, you know, no scrimmage at all, but we'll have to wait and see what the state of Connecticut says. Let's see. I think that's it as far as programs. We're still doing after school programming, but nobody's really showing up. We're getting like 1s and 2s here and there, you know, because when school was open and running, we were getting more kids, but now that school's all home, we're getting like 1s and 2s. I think parents who are just need to get the kids out of the house for a little while, but we're going to stay up and running. Hopefully, you know, kids will start coming back after the 19th, but we'll see. Does anybody have any questions about any of those programming?
Amy, how's the platform tennis reservations going?
So that's going very well. We're still getting reservations for Flood and for the paddle tennis court. I haven't had any complaints, so I'm assuming it's going well. People are able to go online. They register for their court. We send them an email with the code, and That's been going very well. Haven't heard any issues on that, so I'm pretty happy. That seems to be going well.
Thanks to Aileen, I was able to help somebody the other night who, for some reason, did not get the code. So he texted me about 20 to 8, and
Oh,
we were
well,
able
thank
to
you,
get
Aileen. Yeah, sometimes, like, you know, sometimes if they make a reservation, like after hours, you know, the staff isn't there to send the email, but it's not like an automatic, it doesn't automatically get sent to them. Like someone from the office has to go in and email them the information. So it could have just been they made the reservation late or something, but thanks for handling that, Bill. I appreciate it.
it made me look good, so it was good.
Thank you. And looking ahead to summer is I just put all the job descriptions over to HR. So all our summer jobs will be posted. If you have any college or high school kids that are interested, have them monitor the town website. They can start applying soon. We're just going to go on the assumption that we will have a summer camp, and if it happens to be like it was last year with 10 kids in a group, then it's the same. If not, we still need kids to work. So we're posting all those jobs this week. And I'm also going to be meeting with Chad, about fields and stuff for the summer and spring coming up, including softball and Little League and golf at Short Beach. Those are all things we haven't met yet, but we are going to be in the next couple of weeks to month. I'm also starting to plan the summer concerts at Paradise Green. Hopefully we'll be able to move forward with those. We did have those last summer with COVID, so I'm going to guess we'll still be able to have those as well. So we're moving forward, and obviously we're telling everybody that, this is all, anything can change at any minute, but for now, that's what we're planning. Beach stickers, we're getting ready to order the new stickers for 2021. So I'm in the process of dealing with, Public Works and the tax office and everybody to figure out getting all that ordered and ready to go out in the tax bills. Let's see, I'm gonna start working on the budget. There's that Shakespeare Market. We just gave approval for that, gave them the permit. It's going to be the first and third Sunday of every month from January through April. It's going to be like a outdoor winter farmers market. I don't really know much about it. I just gave the permit. And that's basically it. We're still not allowed into the schools, so we have no access to the gyms or the pools or anything like that. We do have Ella that we use, which is, staying busy and going really well. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Amy, we had the ordinance regarding the beach sticker attendance on the agenda. What's the latest with that?
What's that?
What's the latest with that?
I haven't heard anything. Did you push that forward to committee or whatever? Because we were trying to get it. I guess somehow it got changed that we're supposed to keep sticker attendance there through September 30th, which is, a waste of time. I thought we voted to send that up to council. Did that ever get to council?
Last I heard, Margot was talking to the town attorney, and it's if the change even needs to be made. I mean, it doesn't make any sense from what we saw last September to have them after Labor Day.
Right. So do you need me to talk to Margot to find out where that stands?
Yeah, why don't you do that just to
Okay.
follow up
Can
with
somebody
her.
recognize
Aileen, have you heard anything?
I have, thank you. This is Aileen Marsh, recording secretary speaking. I have spoken with Margot about it, and she had spoken with town attorney Brian Leclerc. And based on the changes to that ordinance that were made the last time the ordinance committee met, he reviewed it, and it would need to be a new change to the ordinance. So you at this committee would need to make a recommendation to send to town council with a favorable recommendation that the ordinance be changed so the last day of the sticker attendance at Short Beach would be on Labor Day of each year rather than September 30th.
So we had not done that previously. Huh?
That is correct. There were other changes made to the ordinance, but not that. And Margot was going to talk to Brian to see if it could, instead of starting the whole public hearing, the whole process, if it could just be changed. And Brian's answer was no, you need to start from the beginning.
Okay, so I guess we need a motion to send that to, or send it to what, the ordinance committee, right? Right, Ken?
Town council. Ken, unmute yourself.
Yes.
So you just need a motion to change the timing of the sticker checker?
Yeah, it has to go
From-
to the council. It has to go to the council first, and then we refer to the ordinance committee.
So Bill is looking for a motion to approve and send to the town council with a favorable recommendation, changing the ordinance so the beach sticker attendance, the last day they will work is Labor Day rather than September 30th.
I'd like to make that motion. Just as you stated.
This is Drew, and I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, that's the ordinance as it's currently worded, that they start the Friday before Memorial Day, correct, Amy?
Mhm.
Yes, I believe that's what it says. Aileen would know better than I.
Yeah, Ken, the last change when you made to that ordinance, you changed it from, instead of starting the sticker attendance on Memorial Day, that you were then going to have them start checking on the Friday of Memorial weekend. Now you want to make the change to
Right.
the end
Right.
of that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, can we ask the callers to mute themselves? I'm getting a lot of feedback. The people that are on their phones
Can you do that, Aileen?
that are just identified as callers, I don't know who they are.
Chad, are you with us? Still no Chad, huh?
No, Chad, I'll take.
Hey, Bill, do you have any other questions for me? Because I need to jump off if you guys are done with me. If you have anything else you need, I'll happy to stay.
No, I'm all set. Anybody else?
Nope, thanks, Amy.
All right, guys, thanks very much. If Aileen, if anybody needs anything or has a question, just text me and I'll jump back on.
Okey-doke.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Aileen, are you able to unmute people?
Normally I could, but because I'm on my iPad, I can't. But I think it was Amy and I think Bob Jekyll, but he unmuted himself, so we should be good to go now.
Well, there's two people that are just identified as caller 1 and caller 2, and it keeps popping up that they're given the feedback.
That's probably me.
If those
It's
callers,
Gary, by the way.
Who's that?
if those callers could just mute themselves.
I'm trying.
You too, Paul Hoydick.
What's that?
Paul, you're giving us
Me too.
feedback too.
I don't have anything else on.
So hit your microphone button where it's green, and if you click it, it'll turn red.
I believe it's *6 to mute phones.
It sounds better now. Any word from Chad?
No, I texted him and I haven't heard back from him. And he,
Yeah, I did too, and he didn't answer.
and he wanted to put the Longbrook tennis courts on.
Yeah, well, since we're at his report, let's talk about a couple of things that even without him, like the tennis courts at Longbrook Park, that is CIP money. But currently I think we're holding off on any CIP projects until we see how the tax money comes in during January. But especially Ken, what do you think? Should we move this forward so that when the money's available, or once we move it forward, does that mean bids have to go out?
No, we can just make the recommendation to the town council, and then it can sit there, and even they can approve it. And if the town is holding up big projects, waiting on tax returns, at least it'll be queued up and ready to go. I think it's better to be proactive with this. We've been waiting a while to do those tennis courts, as we all know. So I don't think there's any harm in us sending it to the council, and then the council even approving it.
Or the council could even table it until such time as it moving it forward.
Right. And there's Chad. He could fill us in.
Oh, Chad. All right. Hey, Chad.
Hello. Sorry about that. What's going on?
Yeah, we just started waiting for you. We started talking a little bit about the tennis courts at Longbrook and the fact that everything's kind of on hold for right now, but we thought we'd maybe move it forward with a favorable recommendation so that when the time comes, it's ready to go.
That's completely up to you guys. I mean, if you want to see plans and all that stuff, the engineers are working on it. They need a couple more details to figure it out. But we know kind of where it's going and how it's going to work. But it's completely up to you. It's completely up to the committee.
Actually, tell us how is it going to go? Will you retain the spots where
So what the least obtrusive place is basically where the court is now for 2 courts, and then the side of it. So not parallel with Prim Street. It's actually side by side with Prim Street. So the second court would be kind of behind where the building is, where the clubhouse is. So the only thing that has to get moved, with going there, the batting cage has to get moved. That's behind the clubhouse, behind the field house, but that's the only thing that would have to get moved. It's the least obtrusive to trees. It's the least obtrusive to ground movement because of hills and rocks. And, if we put them in a parallel fashion with Prim Street, then the paddleball courts had to be moved. The electricity had to be moved for the paddleball courts. Trees would have had to come down. So they chose the most logical way, and they're kind of in a staggered pattern side by side. But like I said, they're kind of finalizing the details now so that it's ready, presentable on how it would be presented to either you guys or the council for final approval.
And Chad, would they all be north-south orientation?
Yes, they would all be north-south orientation, all right in a row. Side by side in a row.
They'd be farther down Prim Street, away from Glendale?
No.
Closer to Glendale?
No, basically from where the courts are now, just put 2 courts to the side of them behind the Fieldhouse building.
Oh, to the side of it. Okay.
Yeah. So they wouldn't be, back to back or parallel. They would be like almost perpendicular with Prim Street, off of Prim Street. So that's the area where there's the least amount of trees to remove, the flattest area, that kind of stuff. So that's what they were working on, and that's what they chose, because we did a couple little test spots over by the paddleball court areas, and closest to Prim Street there is rock. There's a lot of rock, so it would have to be taken back so they could be oriented in a line, and big trees would have had to come down. So this made most sense, but they're working on those details to have it so that it's fully submittable and presentable to bid.
And where would the batting cage go?
The batting cage would go over like where the old bleachers were, closest on the other side of the building where the garage is. So we have an area where the old bleachers were, which now are removed. I talked with the baseball coaches, and any kind of orientation in that area without blocking the garage is perfectly fine with them. You know, they actually even like it more because it's not buried around a building. It's kind of more in sight. So it would be factored into the cost of the project, but it's got to be certainly less money to move a batting cage compared to a paddle pin court. You know, so.
Yeah. Okay, so does somebody want to make that motion then, that sends it to council?
You have a dollar amount?
I do not, because that's what they're working on now. They're trying to work on budgets and alternatives and all of that stuff. So, you know, we had put in 750,000 for the CIP. Where it comes at, I don't know. You know, it really depends on what the project costs.
Would it be worth waiting till next month possibly? We might have a little more information, or?
I would feel more comfortable if you guys saw the project, and then this way here, if anybody has any rebuttals or any questions, then you could see like a finalized plan rather than just a conceptual of what we're talking about. So, you know, if you wanted to wait for that finalized plan, we still, you know, going through now, we still get it out to bid and all that stuff. We're still looking at a spring, summer job anyway. So I don't think it's going to tie it up much if you wait for a finalized plan.
I think it might make sense.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, Bill, if we wait until next month, I think we should, like what Chad just said, we just have to let Margot know that it's going to be coming from this committee on a Thursday right before the council meeting, so that it can already be on the agenda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't
already got the pony. So.
Right. So we don't have to add it in or anything. That, you know, Eileen can just communicate with Margot and just put on the agenda Parks and Rec Committee, and then you can do it from there. It doesn't have to say even tennis courts or anything else.
Right.
It'll be there, and then, you know, so we don't have to go and, you know, make a motion to add and all that stuff at the last second.
Hey, sounds like a plan.
Can you make a motion now to tentatively approve based on Chad's further information at the next meeting? Would that work?
Yeah, I don't think it's really worth it. Like Chad just said, we haven't really seen anything concrete. You know, the money's there. We just need to get the okay from, you know, the higher ups to allocate the money, to start spending the money. It's been allocated. So it's not going to really affect the start of it, like Chad just said. Next month he shows up with the plans and we can see a drawing. I think it'll be a lot smoother. Don't you, Bill?
Yeah, and I think by February we'll have a better idea on the financial situation.
Okay.
You guys all have your financial situation better, but you'll also have a project cost, because, you know, we're trying, when I reached out to Bill and when I reached out to Councilwoman Shake, is to try and push this out. It was just too quick because, you know, are we doing lights? Are we doing alternative lights? What's it going to cost to do the tennis courts? What's the site work going to cost? How much is it going to move? You know, how much does it cost to move the batting cages? You know, so they're going to factor in all of those, you know, costs so that we have a roundabout project number. And then it's going to be a much, much easier thing to either prove or disapprove or approve alternates, disprove alternates, you know, so it would be a much better solution and situation if you had waited.
Right.
Okay.
Before you go, Bill, what about Longbrook Committee? Do you want to invite Councilwoman Shake to our meeting or Parks and Rec meeting to see if this is a co-joint, you know, like approval? I mean, I don't think she's going to say no, but I would have to probably either, you know, she wants to know everything that's going on in that park, obviously. So
Yeah.
how do you want to handle it?
Well, do you know if they've talked about this at all?
They did, yes, absolutely. Yeah. She's very well versed of, you know, what the future improvements to that park is, and this is one of them. So, you know, I don't know if you want to, you know, ironically, they meet the day before you guys, so I could potentially present it to Longbrook, get a favorable recommendation from Longbrook, then go to Parks and get a favorable recommendation from Parks. So it could go seamlessly without, you know, delaying a favorable recommendation going to council. But I didn't know if you want to just do two birds with one stone and invite her to this meeting, or if her committee has to be part of it or wants to be part of it.
Yeah, I think it'd be good if they did their own favorable recommendation. Can't hurt to have two, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's an improvement to the park. I don't think it's going to change, but, I could present it night by night, and then we could just go over what they say, their recommendation and park's recommendation, and then just move it to council that way. That's fine.
Okay, that's good. Now, what else did you have for us? Anything?
We're moving. I don't, it's a park, but, Short Beach, we cut down all the Phragmites as part of the Connecticut Invasive Species Act. We got all Habitat Services to take down all the Phragmites on the ponds and all that stuff. So really, opened up the views of the golf course and all that stuff. It's really, really fantastic. And we're committed to really kind of, with the state of Connecticut's help, of kind of to eradicate Phragmites, because it's a nuisance weed. It ruins waterways, water courses, water bodies. So we're actively going after it. And the first phase was to mow all of the Phragmites down there, and it really looks fantastic.
And Pete sent us some pictures, and then today I took a ride by. It's unbelievable. If you haven't seen it yet, what a change.
Well, it's going to improve everybody's golf game too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you'll be able to see the ball as you hit into the water.
Yeah, exactly. But, just Parks Division is real busy. We're in Christmas tree pickup now. We're going to be, removing some of the, like I think the snowflakes off the poles, but keeping all the lit poles and lit buildings and all that stuff for a little while longer, which, looks fantastic. Really looks, the town makes it, set it apart. We have tons of stuff. I got about $10,000 or $12,000 worth of replacement parts for playgrounds that my evening shift is going to start putting those together for schools. So we're busy. We're cranking.
Hey, Chad, back to the Short Beach again for a minute. What's the next step down there?
As far as what?
As far as eliminating those permanently.
So the first phase is mowing,
Right.
and then going in with an aggressive, like a barrel roller to try and remove. Then around, it depends on the size of the plant. Once the plant gets to about 18 or 24 inches, all Habitat comes in and sprays an herbicide on the plant. It is completely safe for watercourses, fowl, fish, everything. They have to go to DEEP and apply for a permit to put out this pesticide. They're all, supervised. They all have the license holders for aquatic and water courses. So right around early spring, maybe beginning of summer, they do a spray. So basically when it gets about 18, 24 inches, the plant absorbs the pesticide, the herbicide, and then it stunts its growth. So it won't be 10 or 12 feet now. It'll be a few inches off the ground. And then around September, October, they do another herbicide spray, the same one that they use for in the spring to try and, knock more of the plants down. You'll see browning over the summer from this herbicide. And then next, December, January, right about the same time we are now, mow it again, and then put in the barrel rows to try and, remove the plants, because Phragmites grows by rhizomes. So I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it's one plant and the roots spawn another plant and another plant, another plant. So these stands, like the number 3 green, it might only be like a half a dozen, 10, 12 plants that just have rhizomes and shoots all over the place. So it's crazy on how these things spread and they go nuts. So we're committed over the next, 2-3 years to kind of do it. And then the long-term goal is to get either the ponds possibly dredged, and cleaned out, and then putting beneficial water plants around the edges of the ponds so it kind of slows down the Phragmites infiltrating it. And then it also, increases the beauty and the beautification for birds and fowls and, little animals and all that stuff. So the long-term goal is there, which we're working with conservation and all of that stuff.
And
Sounds good.
Chad, you mentioned last month that maybe there was going to be a town-wide plan coming out of this also, to maybe do the ones at Worcester Pond.
Yes. So with, one of these things with Kelly is once the town shows the initiative to start the process, then you could apply for state grants and get funding to help. They're not going to pay the thousands of dollars to remove the plants initially, but they'll help us with the maintenance. So yes, she's looking at all of the frags, Worcester, she mentioned Frash Pond area. There's a bunch of different spots, I think Motel Pond, so that she wants to go for these grants and start, maintaining them, because state of Connecticut has definitely, identified this as a nuisance weed. There is no value to it at all. Zero. So yeah, we're working on that too. Yep.
Sounds good. Chad,
Thanks.
before we go from the golf course, do you want to touch on the recommendation from the Short Beach Commission about raising the fees for non-residents?
Yeah, the Short Beach was really, we looked at it, and the golf course did unbelievably well this year within COVID and being one of the only outdoor activities that you could do social distancing wise. It really, I'll bring the numbers next month because I can't remember offhand, but they're staggering how high they
Actually,
are.
I've got those numbers. Okay, yeah.
Oh, you do? You have them?
No, I've just got the new fees.
Yeah, the new fees, I don't know what it was, but I want to give just a summary of a report of how many thousands and thousands of dollars we were up from last year. It's crazy. I know, I remember just offhand, like the month of November, in 2019, we were closed in November because we did the irrigation system. So we had no sales then. But in 2018, we did $3,500 worth of sales. In 2020, November, we did 22,000.
Wow.
Like staggering amount of play that's down there. And, it's still predominantly residents who play it, but the out of town residents is up, substantially. The numbers are up substantially. And
I
we're
think
finding,
I think I've said a number of times when I was volunteering as a starter back in the summer on Sundays, I did my little survey, and I'd say half the people on Sundays were out of towners, and they were from all over the state.
Yep. And, golf courses are packed and they're hard to get tee times. And, some of the Tashuas and the Whitney Farms, I mean, they cater to residents first. So, for us to have a kind of an open forum for tee times and all of that stuff, people are taking advantage of it. So, the recommendation was to raise resident rates. It doesn't, non-resident rates. Doesn't hurt the resident at all. And if they're using our facility, then they should be paying for it.
I agree. Chad, how much do those new out-of-town rates compare to surrounding courses that are charging non-residents?
They're all right in line with everybody. Nobody is really outrageously high or not high. We're a little bit on the low side compared to out-of-town rates, but it's not egregious to ask for a couple. I know Bill could give you the numbers if you have them, Bill. They were only like a couple bucks. It's not.
No, I'm totally in favor. As I said before, I'm totally in favor of charging the non-residents more. It's our facility, and our residents should get the first shot at stuff. And because we've made such great improvements down at the course, it's attracting more out-of-towners, and we don't want them taking spots away from the town residents. So I am totally in favor of raising the non-resident rates more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm in favor of it, but you can't use this year as a guideline because golf was the only thing people could do. So if we raise the rates, I think you got to keep it at the lower end, because if you raise it above everybody else, they might not come. Then all of a sudden our sales drops.
Well, the 9 holes weekdays is going from 16 to 18.
That's fine.
And weekends from 18 to 20. And I know if I play the Orchards in Milford, they'll charge me 18. And I never even played it on the weekend, and it's probably at least 20 over there. And then people from Fairfield that come and play here say they think ours is better than the par 3 in Fairfield.
Right.
Yeah, we did a study a year ago, and we were all very close. It was nothing was crazy. Some people had stricter tee times. They wouldn't allow non-residents before 1 p.m. or before 2 p.m. So there was just restrictions on non-resident tee time playing, but all the numbers were very close in price.
Right. I just meant I didn't want ours to be the lowest one and the most attractive one and be attracting people from all over the region to ours because we were the lowest. That's what I meant.
Yeah. I mean, we're busy, and we have some really huge things coming up for the course next year, and we're very, very excited. So, Gary, just thinking about, that stuff, we really think that with our promotion and our marketing next year and having Pete Pulaski down there, our new pro, we think it's going to be even busier. We think we're going to be turning people away. And it was crazy this year. I was down there on Saturdays and Sundays and Thursdays and Wednesdays, and our staff, the pro shop staff, was like, can I have a tea time? When are you looking? Saturday. When? 9 o'clock. How about 5:45? How about 1? How about 5:45? It was
Chad.
very, very crazy.
Hey, Chad, question for you. We're talking about how much more money we're bringing in and how many more people. What impact does that have on the course, though, itself, physically? And is there added cost for the town to maintain it with all this traffic going on it?
No, not really, because, luckily, Short Beach is in a very good advantage compared to other par 3 golf courses where the greens are huge and the tees are very big too. So yes, we have to spend a little more time on seed and soil seeding and making sure that we're picking up the divots where the increased play is coming. But that's all part of the maintenance of the golf course. So whether we're using 100 pounds of seed or 200 pounds of seed a season really is not much change, on the course. You already have the staff there. You're already spending the chemicals. You're already changing everything. So none of that changes. It's just a little more maintenance work, but it's not outrageous.
Another thing, Chad, that makes the increased play that much more incredible is that it was 15 minutes between tee times, which is a lot more than normal. So even if you go back to 12, or if you go back to the old 10 minutes, you're going to get even more people down there.
Correct. But we really liked it at 15 minutes because it creates safety, it creates buffering, it creates, we were shocked that, it didn't really change, how people played and all of that stuff. So, we were pleasantly surprised at 15 minutes.
All right.
And then one last thing on the course, what's the latest thinking on expanding some of the holes?
I don't think we're going to try for it this year. I think there's some other projects that are going to take precedence that are really going to change the course and the look rather than trying to extend it. So that'll probably be next year's CIP request, is to extend it, do a bunker renovation, make some of the bunkers a little more easier playable and stuff like that, less punishing. So I think we're going to loop those two things together.
I'd recommend we get rid of all of them.
But that's what we're looking at towards next year. And this year, we want to change the point of sale system. We want to change the markings of the course, with the help of with your organization, Bill. What was it? I forget. I totally forget.
The Strtford Rotary.
Yeah, thank you, Aileen. Yeah, the Rotary is going to do a donation to help us with tee markers, and we really have a vision to kind of change the whole thing down there and really make it unique, special, beautiful. So there'll be more coming as we kind of talk about it and talk with the administration and talk with the mayor and getting our plans in sight for next season. So once we're at that point, I'll give you guys a full report.
Thank you.
Gary, can you mute yourself? You're giving us a lot of feedback, Gary. Thanks.
Martha, you look like you need to shave. Hey, Chad, one other thing, and I probably need Ken and Paul's input on this. I heard Bob Baird was thinking about naming the press box at DeLuca after Hal Baird, who I think everybody knows he passed away this past month. Is that something he could just do, or is that going to take some kind of approval from us?
I doubt that's something he could do on his own, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think people have the authority to do that. If it's a town property, the council is the one who has the ultimate authority to name things.
Right.
Yeah, he would have to bring it to this committee, and then this committee would have to make a favorable recommendation to the council, and then they would have to say if a town of Strtford building can have a name.
Okay, thanks. So I'll let him know that. Okay, anything else, or anybody have any questions for Chad?
Chad, I'm sure you probably saw the donuts and wigwam field.
Yes, I did. I did see that. I don't
Is
know
there
if
any way for the police to check the neighbors, see if he's got a Ring doorbell and caught it maybe?
I was thinking that exact same thing when I drove by it yesterday. I was like, I'm going to talk to the police chief and see if they can make a couple of, stops in that area to see if there is a Ring doorbell. Yep.
Right. Because
Yeah,
they stayed on it for a while. They did 2 of them, so they stayed on it for a while.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's happened every other year. It kind of happens there. And, luckily when we did catch somebody, it was somebody who went from Benell to that field. So we were able to catch them on the Benell camera. But no, excellent idea. I'll bring it to the police chiefs. I'll talk to Popick or somebody and see if they could canvass the neighborhood and ask anybody. Sure.
All right, great. Thanks.
I wonder if
Chad,
that would be a place to consider putting a fence similar to the one that was put at Paradise Green, which
Right,
really
and
looks nice.
but also at Flood, we did the same thing up at Flood because the people used to go there and do the donuts. And Chad and I talked about this a few years ago, and we extended the fence and then the chain link fence, and then put that wooden fence there. We put the wooden fence at Benell on the side field. Maybe it's getting to the point where all the open fields like this, like Wigwam, need some kind of barrier because it's just too easy for cars, especially when it snows or it's muddy, to just drive on there and do some donuts, like Gary said, and then leave.
I'd have to agree with you. I think it might be time to look at the cost of doing that to all the parks that are open where cars can get onto them like that.
Yeah, I could come up with a hard cost or a soft cost to do those parks in those open areas. I mean, it's a lot of money. It would have to be put into a CIP type program or a CIP type, thing. But sure. I mean, I can't agree with you more. I mean, everywhere we've done this kind of stuff, it's helped. So this is just another spot that, yes, absolutely, it would help.
Chad, you don't know offhand how much it cost for the one at Paradise Green?
The one at Paradise Green was 16,000.
It really looks nice. I think it actually improves the look.
Oh, I think it would, the mayor had a vision, and she, surprised us all with her vision, because it really does not look beautiful. It does look good, but it's about 530 feet long, something like that. And it's like I said, it's around 16 grand. So
yeah, it's one of those things that we could hit a little, one a year kind of thing, and then eventually get to them all if it'd be too much money to do it all at once. We could do like we did Flood, and then one year we could do Wigwam, and then one year we could do, next one, then the next one.
Absolutely, without a doubt, because, we went out to bid specifically for those type of fencing. So now I have a bid and a contract number of what we're paying per linear foot. So it's an easy project to do once we have each property either funded or a monetary amount funded, like you said, Ken. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Who did that work, Chad, at the Green?
M&M.
Oh, okay.
They won the bid for basically all the fencing and service, repair work, fencing, wood fencing. We're going to be doing another wood fence over by the bocce courts at the Paradise at Baldwin Center to protect those from, a car losing control. We raised the fence around Short Beach finally from 4 foot to 6 foot. So that was done. We put extensions and then new poles and all new fabric, and that looks fantastic, which will help, people jump in the golf course, trying to get to the beach and all of that stuff, So we've done a lot of fence work since we've gone out to bid with M&M, and, doing these wood fences in some of these parks is a phenomenal idea. It's a great idea.
Chad, what line item did that come out of?
That kind of just came out of my fencing. So capital fencing.
And M&M's a local company, so I like that too.
Yes, M&M's, yep, he's a local resident here, phenomenal guy. I tried to use companies off of the state bid list, and they were, it was Matt from the fencing guys that are doing Benell, Ken. what is it? I forget the name. Atlas, yeah, Atlas Fence. And they were 2 months to get a project done, do this, do that. So we went out to bid for ourselves, and, you know, Mike was the low bidder, and thank God, you know, he's great to work with.
Yeah, Atlas does a lot of big projects like that one at Benel, so they're really engulfed with big projects that take a lot of time, so that's hard to get them to, you know.
It is. And the way that the way that the state bid was run, it's not made for, you know, it's made for 1,000 feet, you know, it's made for huge amounts of fence projects for the state of Connecticut, not really repair work or something that we're doing. So it's been a good project. And, you know, our first project with him was the Paradise Green fence, you know, under the bid, and it worked out great, you know, really, really good.
All right, thanks, Chad. Anybody, anything else? All right, going on to special projects. I don't know, do we need to keep this on each month? Or these are sort of things we can talk about under Chad's report? Ken, do you want to give us anything on the latest on Benel?
We were there last week, I think it was, doing a final punch list walkthrough of stuff that just couldn't get done because of the weather. So it's kind of like a March to-do list, although Atlas is still working on the fence because they're above ground, so it didn't really affect them. So
Went up today.
there's just a couple of little tiny things that need to be done. The punch list wasn't that big, but Field Turf's going to give us a schedule of exactly when it's going to get done. Nothing's going to be signed off or anything until everything's perfect, that Chad says it's okay, and me, Wayne, and everybody else. So it's this committee. So I think we've all seen the project. We all see how great it looks. It's just going to really help. Amy's talked about how great it's going to be, Chad and everybody. We all know it was a long time coming, and it's really great. And like Bill said last month, Bill, I've heard the same comments that people think it looks like a college campus. It really does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Looks terrific. It really looks terrific. The scoreboard, I guess, is going up, and
Yeah,
Rick's got a bird's eye view from his backyard. Huh?
Yeah, they just put the footings in and the foundation for the scoreboard. That was one of the things that, you know, they're going to come back and finish up. And again, there's no rush right now because there's no sports going on. So,
right.
But everything's going to eventually get done when the weather clears up, and it's going to look even better.
Okay, if there's nothing else, any member comments or questions, concerns? If not, we'll move on to our next meeting, Thursday, February 4th at the usual time, and I imagine we'll still be virtual.
Probably so. If nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Bill Jr.
Again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thanks,
Have a
Aileen.
good night, everybody.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Rick, enjoy your
Happy New
time
Year.
off.
Thanks. Oh, hi, Catherine.